You might be wondering why two governments that spent 4 months trying to kill each other are suddenly flying to Switzerland on Friday to sign the exact same piece of paper. And you might wonder why, when you actually read what each side says in that paper, it sounds like they signed two completely different deals. So here's what happened over the weekend. Pakistan's Prime Minister posted that a peace deal has been reached. Minutes later, Trump posted on Truth Social that the deal is complete. He ordered the naval blockade lifted, or opened the Strait of Hormuz, and signed off with a line that tells you exactly what he actually cares about. Ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. So, yeah, the signing is Friday, but even that part is fuzzy because nobody seems sure if Trump will sign it himself electronically or if the vice president flies over to do it. Think about that. 4 months of war, the biggest oil shock in human history, and the people throwing the peace party still haven't figured out who is holding the pen. So that alone should tell you something. But this gets a bit stranger. This is where the whole thing wobbles because the entire agreement hangs on $12 billion in frozen Iranian money sitting in foreign banks. And the two sides cannot agree on when that money moves. Tehran's version goes like this. Iranian state media is telling its people that the Americans agreed to hand over the $12 billion first, up front, before the real negotiations even began. I'm going to talk about the real negotiations in a minute. But in their minds, Iran cornered the superpower, made them pay the ransom, and then agreed to sit down and talk. Now, here is Washington's version. A U.S. official says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that is completely untrue. They call it a pay-for-performance deal. Iran gets nothing until Iran does something. No money moves until Tehran delivers. Okay? So sit with that for a second. This is the same agreement, the same Friday, same pen. One side is telling its people, we got paid first. The other side is telling its people, they only get paid if they behave. Both of those things cannot be true at the same time. And when two governments need the photo of a signing more than they agree on the actual words inside the contract, no, you do not get a settlement. You get a ceremony, you get theater, you get photos, and then there is the stuff the deal doesn't even touch. You remember why this war started? Nukes, anyone? From night one, the whole point was stopping Iran from building a bomb. Fine, that part is at least on the table for the next 60 days. But two massive things are completely missing from the paper. Number one, Iran's missile program and Iran's support for its proxies. The terrorist groups it props up so it never has to get its own hands dirty. So think about what actually means. The thing that started the war is still just being discussed. And the two things that make Iran genuinely dangerous to its neighbors, the missiles and the proxies, are not even mentioned. So Iran keeps its long arms and its hired muscle, and in exchange, it agrees to keep talking about the one thing it has wanted for 40 years more than anything else. So if you want to know how a winner behaves, just listen to them. The morning the deal was announced, Iranian state TV was still blaming the West for dangerous consequences in the region. You don't spend the morning of your own peace party blaming the other guy for the mess, unless you walked away from the table knowing that you just won. With a caveat. Meanwhile, look at whose names are actually on this thing. Pakistan led the talks. Qatar sat in Tehran for 17 straight hours, grinding out the final text. So good for them. But They were even congratulated by Trump. But the most important name in this entire story is the only one barely being whispered out loud. China. China is Iran's biggest customer. China is also America's single biggest rival on earth. And quietly in the background, Beijing was pulling the strings to calm this down. And you might ask why. Well, you already know. If you have been watching my Power Pundit channel, you already know. China buys the oil. When the Strait of Hormuz is closed, China pays more and Chinese factories fill it fast. So while the strait was shut, China quietly cut back its own buying to keep global oil from screaming past $100 a barrel, which has collapsed, by the way, in the past couple hours. That is the main reason your gas prices didn't get even worse than they did. So picture the table on Friday, this Friday coming. America declares victory. Iran declares victory. And the country that quietly kept the lights on, the one with the most to gain from cheap oil flowing again, is the one not standing in the photo. So that is usually how you spot who is actually running a room. Look for who is missing from the picture. Which brings us to the only number that truly matters on Friday, the oil. When this war shut the Strait of Hormuz, the world lost about a tenth of all the oil it burns in a single day. The biggest supply disruption in recorded history. One narrow waterway, just a few miles wide, it carries roughly a quarter of all maritime oil on Earth. To close it, and the entire global economy holds its breath. Prices jumped by the most in a single month ever. So when Trump types, "let the oil flow," yeah, you know, that is the entire game right now, the urgent game. Every factory, every airline, every government has been waiting 4 months for those words to mean something. But here's the thing to actually watch out for. Do not mind the ceremony on Friday. Watch whether the tankers actually sail. Watch whether $12 billion actually moves and which direction it moves first. Because signing a paper is the easy part. Two men can sign two completely different deals with the same pen and smile for the exact same cameras. The behavior, which is the single most important thing, comes after that. The money tells you the truth. Always follow the money. The ships tell you the truth. If by next week the oil is genuinely flowing and that money has quietly changed hands, then Trump pulled off something real, and credit where credit is due. But if Friday comes and everyone signs and everyone smiles, and then the tankers just sit there and the $12 billion does not budge, then what they signed in Switzerland was never a peace deal. It was just a press release with a signature on it. And we won't learn which one it is from anything anyone announced this weekend. We will learn it from what actually moves next week. So if you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and the behavior of the people who run the world, check out my blog, The Power Pundit. I can say things there I prefer not to say anywhere else. Link in the description of this video, and share this video with your family and friends so they know what is actually going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm The Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.